Hi, gang. It's Rusty with Carolina Case Files. I want to talk to you for a few minutes and give you a follow-up to our 911 episode. So first off, if you haven't seen the 911 episode, watch that first. Otherwise, this episode or this follow-up is not going to make any sense to you whatsoever. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, here's what we're going to do today. I think you'll find it really exciting. We're going to address, in the interest of transparency, we're going to address some of the questions and concerns on the 911 episode. So we're going to answer some of those questions. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get in the car and we're going to drive the route that the caller was driving the night of the 911 call. And we're going to play the 911 call while we're driving the route. It just lends more credibility to the story when you see that the markers along the waypoint or the waypoints match up with the caller's description of where he's at certain times and so forth. Now, it's not going to be exact. We're not going to land at the gas station at the same time he did, because I'm not going to drive 90 miles an hour today, but it'll be fun. I think you'll find it pretty exciting. And here's something else that's really cool. You know, when you do a story or an episode or a feature film, whatever, you got all this information. You got to shrink it down. In our case, we shrunk it down to 17, 18 minutes for that episode. So we had to cut a lot out. That 911 call is very long. You're going to hear most of it today. Now, when the caller got to the service station, or the guy, a little quick mart, whatever it was, he was there for a while waiting on the LEOs to arrive and get assembled and all that stuff. We cut all that out today. But the stuff you are going to hear that you didn't get to hear on the 911 call is pretty frightening. It really is. So I think you're going to enjoy it. So questions. I made myself some notes so we can try to get through this in one or two takes. We've got a busy day today. Let's see. Number one, AI generated. I'm not an AI generated thing. Neither is the sheriff. We're real people. By the way, the sheriff is not just a sheriff. He's the sheriff. He's the duly elected sheriff of Pender County. His office has received a lot of calls since the episode came out to verify that there is someone there by that name. He's the sheriff, and all the deputies work for him. So he's the real deal. I'm the real deal. In fact, if you go to, there's an online publication called Bro Bible, and they just published a story about our episode. They got in touch with me 4 or 5 days ago. They tracked me down. They figured out how to do it and interviewed me, and I gave them some more insight on the story, and they published that. So you can go check that out yourself. It's called Bro Bible. That means I'm real because they tracked me down and asked me questions, okay? So no AI generated. Green screen. There were comments that the background when we did the interview was green screen. We really wish we were that good. We wish we were that good. That background's real. If you look really closely, you can see the leaves moving very, very slowly. I'm sure they move faster. We're kind of in a moderate drought right now in North Carolina. Sure, when we get some rain, that'll be moving a little faster. But here's how you can tell it was real. If it would have been green screen, you'd have had the caller, myself, in the background. No. Now, I'm standing on the bank of this river with 1 foot way down here and then 1 foot high. And then the caller's up here, and then our director of photography is shooting down through all that to get the background in the shot. So if it was green screen, we wouldn't have gone through all that trouble. No green screen. Okay, the man on the side of the road. What did he have to do with the creature? We don't know. We have no idea. I'm kind of glad that it worked out that way, because if he hadn't have stopped, or not stopped, if he hadn't have rolled up his window to make the 911 call, the 911 dispatch would have never had him being recorded when the whatever it was jumped in the back of his truck. We would never have that recording. So it's pretty cool that it worked out the way that it did. Did law enforcement look for the man on the side of the road? They did. They looked for him. Couldn't find him. No evidence, no trace. How about wildlife? Did they look for the creature? They did. They put up a drone. It had not infrared. It had thermal capability. Couldn't find whatever it was. So yes, they did pursue those things. What else? Window up, window down. There were some comments about that. At one point he mentioned this. At one point he mentioned that. Think about it. He's driving down through North Carolina at 11 o'clock at night, 11 p.m. at night, and his truck's not performing well as far as the air conditioning, so he rolls the window down, sees somebody on the side of the road. Before he makes the call in this windy truck with loud exhaust, what's he going to do? roll up the window. So when he made the call, the window was up. That's pretty logical right there. Timestamp. That's our error. The timestamp was not actually on the 911 call. The timestamp was just something we put up in front of the 911 call to tell you when it was. Editor got AM and PM mixed up. It happened at 11 p.m. at night, or a few minutes after. Not a big deal. The caller mentioned it was the wee hours of the morning. Now, when I tell you how all this came together, you'll understand why some of the caller's details are a little bit fuzzy. I mean, he hasn't told the story in 4 years. That's the big thing, and I'll get to that. But he was there in the morning hours. He had to wait for law enforcement to show up at the gas station. Then they all had to go out and try to find the spot where all this happened, and they were there till the wee hours of morning wrapping up this investigation. So no big deal there. DNA. Why didn't they DNA swab the truck? That's Hollywood. That's not real world. Okay. Number one, the sheriff clearly mentioned that the highway patrol took point on this investigation. Now, I don't think the highway patrol carries around a DNA test kit in their breast pocket or has one in their car. Why would they? They are supposed to be investigating traffic incidents. So I don't think it's in their protocol or in their training to swab for creatures in the back of a pickup truck on a traffic incident, which is what they were called out for, traffic incident. Pictures. Be nice if we had pictures of the truck. There were pictures taken after the truck the morning after by the caller when he was home. Why don't we have those pictures today? Let's talk about that. Okay. I think the presumption behind a question like that is you assume that the caller came and found us, Carolina Case Files, and said, here's my 911 call, here's my pictures, would you tell my story? Didn't work like that. Here's the way it worked. We heard about this story. If you live in Curry, North Carolina, or in this general area, or if you're involved in law enforcement, certainly around this area, you've heard this story before. We heard about the story. And it's our job as Carolina Case Files to go debunk the story. So we started digging and got in touch with the sheriff. Great guy, by the way. Great guy. He was so kind to talk with us. He confirmed the story. Okay. So then we accessed the case files, or the deputy's reports. They were real. So then we properly acquire the 911 call. Chilling. And I think I mentioned during the interview, I heard it 3 or 4 months ago. The first time I heard it, it's taken a while to get all this together and to do it correctly. Once we got that 911 call, we knew we had an episode. We had to go to work. If all that sounds like it was difficult or laborious to do, it was, but the work really hadn't started. The work started when we tracked down this young man and tried to convince him to tell the story. Okay? And here's why. That was 4 years ago. He was younger than he is now. Here's what's happened to that young man since then. He hasn't told the story. He's tried to bury it deep down and forget about it. He got rid of the truck, got another truck, got rid of the phone. I think the phone fell out of his pocket in a fishing trip or something like that. I'm not using the same phone I was using 4 years ago. The batteries don't last that long. Well, why didn't he print out an 8x10 of the scratches on the truck and put it on the wall in his house? Because he didn't want to remember this thing. He wanted to forget about it. He moved. He's hours away from where we live now. He got married. He had a baby, a new job. He's moved on from this thing. And then we come knocking on the door. Hey, can you tell our story? And he's like, who are you guys? What do you want? You know, he stiff-armed us for weeks. Multiple phone calls before we could finally get this young man to agree to tell his story under his terms. Okay, we knew he was the right guy because we got the documents, we got the official LEO reports, so we know it's him. You can tell by listening to the audio that it's definitely the same voice, the same person. So anyway, that was the hard part, getting him to tell the story 4 years later after he's done nothing but try to forget about it and not ever to retell it. And that's pretty common. We're finding out when people experience things, sometimes they don't want to talk about it again. They want to forget about it. People think they're crazy. So we're grateful that he came forward and told his story. And there were 2 things that I saw that you didn't see during that interview, because I was looking him eye to eye. There were points in his telling of the story where I saw genuine fear welling back up in that young man. There were other points where there was some levity. We got chuckles out of him. in his eyes, it looked like maybe he was getting the stuff out that's been bundled up and bottled up inside of him for 4 years. So our hope for this young man, we'll call him T, is that by doing the story the way that we did, by giving him his privacy, he's been able to get this thing out and get some relief and maybe sleep better at night. That's our hope for him. So thank you for joining us on Carolina Case Files. Please continue to like and subscribe and share our stories. Give us a little time. It takes some time to put together a story with this type of detail. We're working on other stories right now, and our staff is 2 of us right now, okay? So give us a little time. We're going to go drive the route or listen to the 911 call. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. Thanks, guys.
Tender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
Yes, ma'am, and it looked like he was bleeding because when I drove by, I had my high beams on, and all I could see was just some streaks of red going down his body, starting at his head.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get exactly where you're at. Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle of the woods at the moment.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the area.
What the fuck?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck! In the bed!
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, so when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
I don't know.
Like a turkey, a deer?
No.
Turkeys are pretty
big. I don't know what the hell that was. That wasn't a turkey because I was driving 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
The turkey doesn't hit that hard, and it was not covered in feathers at all.
Okay, all right, sir. What do you think it was?
I have no idea what the hell that was. And it just scared the absolute hell out of me, and I just knocked it off of my truck when I slammed on the brake.
I'm sure you did, sir. I mean, I would be scared, too. I'm just trying to think is there any damage to your vehicle?
I don't know, but I'm waiting until I get further away.
Okay, sir.
There's another truck in front of me at the moment.
Okay.
I'm leaving my bed lights on.
Okay.
I don't see it anymore. I don't see it in the distance or anything.
And you think it was in the road? Did it hit the front of your truck?
It went over the roof of my truck and onto my hood and then hit the road before I took off again.
Okay.
I'm fucking shaking.
I understand, sir. And you said it didn't have feathers, so That rules out of...
It didn't have feathers. It looked pale almost.
Okay, it was light in color.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so whereabouts are you at now, sir? Have you gotten to...
I just passed some gas stations and a few houses. I just passed some houses right now. I'm about 7 miles from 53 East.
Okay. All right, sir. Have you gotten near school yet?
Porter Road. I
Okay.
just passed it, Porter Road.
All right, so you're in the area of Porter Road and Malpas Corner Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that bang before I started screaming, but I heard a bang.
I
They
did.
turned on my headlight.
I heard a thud. And back to the man that you saw, you said he was
Yes,
covered
ma'am.
in blood?
It looked like he was bleeding from his head and heavily because it was going down his torso.
And was he white, black, Hispanic?
He was white, and he was staring at me as I drove by, just blankly, which kind of weirded me out, like he had some trauma, like he had blunt force trauma to his head, a possible concussion. I'm former Army, and something wasn't right. Like he had some form of brain injury. He was just staring at me the entire time as I was driving to him, and when I drive past him, and until he was out of sight.
Okay. All right. Now, where are you at now?
I'm by what looks like a corner store with some U-Haul trailers.
Okay. Have you
got some lights on it? It's what is that? Malpas County corner store. It's the food
Okay.
mart.
All right. Can you pull over in there and check your truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.